What do the San Francisco 49ers have to do in the offseason to get back to the mountaintop? A Super Bowl appearance and possibly a win. Let's dive in. I don't know if I'm going to put these in order, but I think it's got to be all high priority. But first, definitely the offensive line. Because when you think about the offensive line, you really just think about future Hall of Famer Trent Williams at left tackle. And then to me, the only other person you really think of is probably Pooney. Other than that, there's really no mainstays or other guys that you're like, this is a strong front that will protect Brock Purdy. And unlike last year, I think in the draft, this has to be one of their top priorities because I think we need to draft another high rated left tackle to kind of really start shadowing Trent Williams for his eventual exit. And even though it's hard, we got to prioritize availability over names. Yes, injuries were hard, still are hard, but we really need that solid, reliable front so Brock Purdy is not running for his life, especially against the tougher defenses, like Seattle that we totally bombed on. And to me, I just don't think we focused on it. I think last year we focused on everything we were losing, and we got a decent offensive line. But now, and last year in the draft, I was disappointed because I thought there was no way we weren't gonna like have a real focus on the offensive line. And now we got to really do that. Pleasance was a good, coming out of nowhere, fill in for Trent, but maybe somehow we get him into a starting role and or just taking some of the burden off Trent. Next up, we got to really see what we're going to do about this wide receiver core. I mean, do we lose Juwan Jennings this year? Are we really banking on Ricky Pearsall? I think we can, but still, who else do we have? And Jordan Watkins, who to me I'm high on, but he really did not get playing time after his injuries healed up. Who else do we have? Cowing. I honestly can't tell you anybody else on the team as far as wide receiver. I think we got to go really, at least this is my opinion of what we should do is I feel like we really need to go after AJ Brown. I think he would be really filling in that void for a prototypical wide receiver. I think we give another year of grace to Ricky Pearsall because I really like his speed at the wide receiver position, and I think he could really be an advantage for us. I think most likely we're going to lose Juwan Jennings. So we got to see where we're going from there. And the highlight to me, I really want to see what Jordan Watkins could do because if you give him enough playing time, I think he could be like a hidden gem. And now, to me, this is probably the number one priority. Just watching the 49ers last season is we need a defensive front. Granted, we lost a whole bunch of guys in the offseason, like Hargrave, and no one could really ever fill the void, especially once Nick Bosa went down. And I was at that game and it was just hard to watch. I was up in the stands praying. And speaking of Nick Bosa, it's kind of like, what do you do there after he's done rehabbing? Do you consider moving on from him? Maybe a trade package, like possibly Nick Bosa and a couple picks and take your shot at Myles Garrett with the Browns. Who knows? I know that's elite, but do you really want to extend Nick Bosa? Because to me, the last 2 or 3 years, he has really been someone that has just been someone that pressures the quarterback, but he could hardly break through. I mean, the big highlight of this year before he got injured was he probably saved that week one victory against the Seattle Seahawks. But other than that, it's like, how many times does he really break through? I just don't remember seeing it. And while he is solid, why not see what you can get now instead of being shit out of luck in the coming future? And if you can't do that, why not take your shot at Max Crosby? I know that would be a hard sell because he is a dreaded Raider, but I think all he wants to do is win. So if he's fed up with the Vegas Raiders, why not be like, hey, you could be on the side of Nick Bosa. You will have a legitimate help instead of just being the one core player where he's at now. And I think that would revitalize this defense, especially the front. And your defense will be looking nice with Nick Bosa, Max Crosby, Fred Warner, some young guys up front. Alfred Collins, he really kind of, to me, in my eyes, blossomed this year. So who knows? But you definitely got to be active. And overall, because of all the injuries we had this year, I think you got incredible experience for these rookies and these young defensive front guys. So I think if you could add something with adding the experience that these young guys got, I think you're in a really good position. Next up is what are you going to do at running back? CMC, he really had a year that to me he was just the Niners savior because no matter if Brock Purdy or Mac Jones was in the game, if they couldn't find an open receiver because they couldn't really get separation as much as they wanted this year, oh, here's CMC. Let's dink and dunk to him, and he would make something out of it. And a lot of people talk about his running wasn't what it should have been this year. I mean, if you're basically like 1,000-yard receiver, I mean, what do you want to do? Can't have your cake and eat it too. But honestly, we're gonna always give CMC grace, but I think you gotta cut down his workload, obviously. And you gotta really have faith in Brian Robinson and just split the load equally. Because even though you would split it equally, CMC is that dual threat. So I think it would kind of, even out and maybe let Brian Robinson shine a little bit while knowing that you always have the comfort that you can go to CMC. Even though it was minimal, Jordan James was looking pretty good. So why not just do running back by committee? Because CMC will always be known as, a receiver that can run. So why not? I think that's the best strategy as far as running back. Next is what is your plan at tight end? George Kittle most likely is going to be out the whole year. But honestly, with who George Kittle is, I feel like we could get him possibly midseason. What I think, because you do have Tunges, and I feel like he is very much so like a wide receiver at the tight end position. He knows how to use his feet, especially with tippy toe touchdowns in the end zone. His blocking isn't that good, but then you have Luke Farrell, who is more known for being like a blocking tight end. So Kittle is injured. You got Tunges. You have Farrell for the blocking capabilities. Why not just go after rumored Kyle Pitts, who probably wants to reinvent himself because he was one of the highest rated tight ends, and all of a sudden it's like he's nothing in Atlanta, which is kind of wild to me. Go after Kyle Pitts. I think that is the recipe. You got a good core in the tight end room. So why not add? Maybe it could only be like a year contract. And why not? I think it would definitely work that way. Hey, I wanted to remind y'all to please subscribe to the channel. You guys always help me with get my subscriber number up, and I appreciate it. And if you want constant sports content, I am definitely here and I'm giving it. And I'm obsessed with sports. And if you are too, hit that subscribe button. And coaching, Kyle Shanahan. Everybody dogs him every single year, but sometimes I feel like the Niner fan base, especially the young Niner fan base that's never experienced Super Bowl victories and what they feel like, always wants to blame Kyle and says he can't do it. The big game, he crumbles. But it's really hard to win a Super Bowl. And he has put us in the pathway the majority of the time that he has been here with the San Francisco 49ers. So a lot of you faithful, I feel, are like ungrateful, but we need to still lock in with Kyle. I feel like he gets the most out of every player. And last year, we definitely needed that with all those injuries. Substation. So I really like where we're at. But the one thing that I will knock him on, he better not promote Gus Bradley. He needs to poach and go after Jim Schwartz. We need that kind of defense in our life or defense direction. So, lastly, the big picture is the 49ers are not rebuilding, we are resetting. The 49er fans got to realize, as I realize, that we got to have cap discipline now that we gave Brock Purdy that huge contract. We need to focus on the offensive line and the defensive line, priority defensive line. And we need to get back to our offensive scheme to be all about precision. Focus on a smarter workload that doesn't cause injuries. And if we nail what I just said, that we will definitely be on the road to the Super Bowl and definitely back in that conversation. Look at us last year. We were not in the conversation. We put ourselves in there. So I think we got a great franchise. And if we take these keys to heart and we approach them and we hit on them, we're definitely back in that conversation. Now, tell me what you think. Drop a like, drop a comment, and tell me, do you agree with my assessment for the 49ers to get back to the top of the hill? This has been the Authentic Take. Until next time.